Knights of the Old Republic movie or TV show?
May the Force.
The Force.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your place for all things Star Wars gaming, TV shows, and the movies, and the combination of all of them into one great podcast. Or I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
And as usual, I'm joined by Sydney Laurel. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You ready?
Hot.
It is very hot in Colorado right now.
Yes. This is probably the hottest day of the year so far.
It got up to what, like 90 something?
At least.
Yep. So it's hot, but we're ready to talk Star Wars. And today we're going to be talking about Knights of the Old Republic remake and the possibility for a TV show or movie. So, as well as talking, as usual, the new episode of Obi Wan after the break. But first, let's get started and kick off the KOTOR talk.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
Okay, Mike Putnam
Hello, Mike.
from Twitter asks, and as always, you can reach out to us at Star Wars Uplink or at Uplink Podcast for any topics you'd like us to cover on the podcast, and we'll definitely consider them for an episode. Sage and Sydney,
Hi.
What are your expectations for the upcoming KOTOR remake game and the idea of a trilogy of movies based in this era? Would love a podcast episode on these subjects. I'm a new listener, in case you already did. So we haven't really gone over that specific idea around the KOTOR remakes, but I think it's a good talking point.
Yeah.
KOTOR, the Knights of the Old Republic games are fantastic. Oh my gosh, they're so fun. They hold up really well to this day. Like I've been playing them on stream a couple months ago. I probably have like 9 hours into it or something like that.
You've been... You could sink a lot of hours into those games.
What's so weird is I don't normally play those kinds of games. Like it's a turn-based MMO game, and it's not MMO. It's a RPG.
But it feels very MMO.
Yeah, it definitely feels
because
MMO.
of the RPG aspect of it.
And the turn-based.
Yeah, even just how it plays. It feels very much like an MMO. So.
It definitely feels like it. You have a team that you can manage as well, so that adds to that experience to it as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of KOTOR. The story is really good. I prefer the story of the second one. I think the second one's just an altogether, like they had so many ideas that they were playing with the first one, and then it all culminates into a really good, like really well polished experience in the second one. Everything's like better. But again, I haven't played it in a while, at least the second one. But KOTOR is so good. They're having a remake of the game that's exclusive to PS5 and PC. So sadly, Xbox peeps won't be able to play. But thankfully, we do have a PlayStation.
Thankfully, we do.
And a PC.
And PCs.
So
plural.
Yes. So that's good. We will be able to play it, but it does kind of suck for exclusivity. It does kind of put a damper on things, especially for Star Wars. Star Wars is for everybody. It seemed like Star Wars has always been like more of a multi-platform kind of thing. But they're making it for the PS5. It's next-gen only, PC as well. It's going to be gorgeous. They're doing a brand new remake of it. So it is a from-the-ground-up remake. And from the reports, it's going to be a combination of 1 and 2, is what I've heard. Bespin Bulletin, friend of the podcast, was the person that broke this big news. He released it on his podcast episode, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh!" And we had him on the podcast to discuss it a few months ago. It's so funny too, because he was like, "Yeah, from that experience, I learned to be a lot more careful on the podcast instead of like." Just dropping the gigantic bomb of there's a KOTOR remake in the works, and he's heard a lot of stuff around it, and he didn't have it as like a full report. It was a mention on the podcast. He's like, yeah, I learned a lot through that experience. He's got picked up everywhere. Like he blew, like he was a pretty good leaker.
Yeah.
Beforehand, pretty well known, but like he became even more well known. Like everyone was covering the news. So
fascinating.
Yeah, that's kind of the overarching story. But what do we want to see in a KOTOR remake? We've talked a lot about it. I do hope that it makes Revan canon. I think that would be that would be the most exciting thing to me around a KOTOR remake, is the possibility of Revan entering canon legitimately in that sense. And if he does enter it there, could you imagine if that is actually Revan in Cal story, Jedi Survivor?
That would be amazing.
Huge.
Yeah, that would be
so hyped. Like, could you imagine? Like, that character was giving me Revan vibes from the beginning. Just the way he was standing, the way he was using his weapon is like, this looks very much like the cinematics that they have around how he walks and holds the lightsaber.
My only thing about, I mean, not to delve into, was it Star Wars? Jedi Survivor. Not to delve into that too much, but they seem too slender to be Revan.
He's a pretty slender guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I picture him pretty beefy.
He's got a lot of robes on. He's a roby guy.
Yeah.
I think the other option would be Darth Maul. Just kind of follow the side tangent a little bit. I think the other option would that maybe Darth Maul, but it didn't look like Darth Maul's lightsaber.
No.
It didn't look like how Darth Maul holds himself either. Because Darth Maul is that very like skilled sword fighter style. Like even after he went into madness and came back out, like he has a very like just stiff way of holding his lightsaber and holding himself. Like very, very like practice.
Yeah.
And it didn't really seem like that.
No, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that would be Darth Maul.
Could be,
but
could be doing a bamboozle on us.
Yeah.
Back to KOTOR though.
KOTOR though.
Now that we follow the Revan rabbit
hole.
There we go.
Yeah.
KOTOR remake. What do we really want to see? Again, obviously want it to be canon. That would be really cool. I don't really care if it's not canon. That's not going to deter me from the experience.
No.
Honestly, they can do a lot more if it's not canon. But I think the reason that they're combining the two games would be to make them canon, because there's parts and pieces that they could make. They could have the origins of Revan, as well as, I mean, the whole thing around KOTOR is that decision-making aspect of it. If you can either be a Jedi or a Sith, and you get points towards your Jedi self or your dark side self, and it's such a cool part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's
they better not cut that out.
That needs to be in there. There needs to be an option to choose your own destiny. Otherwise, it's not KOTOR.
Right.
Like, that's the thing that makes KOTOR, honestly, is this character that you get to decide where his fate lies. That's what BioWare specialized in. I mean, Mass Effect is one of those experiences where it's very similar, where you have the decision to make your own character, make your own journey. And I think that's key and core to the experience of KOTOR.
Yeah. Honestly, as far as the storyline goes, I really don't have much to say because I really haven't played those games, and I don't actually know.
Yeah.
But as far as what I've seen from you playing it, I really hope. I mean, they're not going to have as crappy of gameplay. I mean, it's not bad for what it was. It was not bad for at least for
they
the
did
first
what
one.
they could.
Yeah.
Real time. I want real time action, not turn based.
Yeah. Same.
I think that's a key. That's going to be a key advancement and evolution of KOTOR, is taking what they had and maybe implementing aspects of it. Maybe there's certain things that you can't do in certain times just because it's charging up or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the real evolution of that technology is having that more fluid combat. I think that's going to be super important, and I think that's just what we're going to be expecting. Something that I hope they don't do with the scope of it is they're going to go so hard into the graphical settings and just crank everything up to 10 that the world's smaller. That's what I'm really scared of, because the world feels so big in KOTOR. You have a lot more of a contained space just because of the technical limitations, but like, that place is huge. Like, it's way bigger than you think it is. And you go to these different areas, these different levels, you unlock different things. And I think that's what's great too, is that Metroidvania style almost. Like, you go to this area, you talk to this person, you have a conversation, they send you on this mission. Through that mission, you earn XP, and then you may unlock different things.
It's so MMO.
It is.
It's so grindy. I don't know why you like this.
I don't know why I like it either.
Why do you like this game?
It's like the anti-Sage game,
Yeah.
but I love it.
I'm so confused. I think you
It's-
just had such a great time on
It's
there.
a classic game too. Like I'm a sucker for some classic games. And yes, it came out in 2003, I think, but at this point it's become classic gaming.
I need to play this game so I can scratch my
Yes.
MMO itch.
Yes.
Because someone won't play MMOs with me, even Star Wars ones.
The controls are just way better
Oh
in
my
KOTOR than they are
gosh.
in SWTOR. You cannot
because you're not
cannot
used to
deny
them.
that.
I don't know. I haven't actually physically played the game to know how the controls feel.
It works like an actual game instead of like an MMO, where
I'm
MMOs
very confused with actual games, especially on PC, because I'm totally foreign to that. Like playing what was I don't know when I started the
the robot game,
no the
Halo.
no, but that too. So stressful. 'Cause this guy's like, woo, doing all things. I'm like, I don't know how to point my gun and shoot. Like
Yes, you do.
I do, but it's a different experience than what I'm used to. So, but I was playing. It was a Star Wars one with
Force Unleashed.
Yes. So I started Force Unleashed, and I don't know how to run.
The controls in that are a little janky on PC. It was not very well done for PC.
Okay.
It
Well, that
finally
makes me feel a bit
the
better,
controls are better on the Wii than on the PC,
Oof.
which is like,
That's saying something.
how is that even possible?
Yeah, how
the
do you-
Wii, the computer, the PC port for Star Wars, the Force Unleashed, the first one for sure. I haven't played the second one yet. Stay tuned. We're gonna do probably an all-day stream for that soon. Yep, it's gonna happen. Do an all-day stream for that. But the files on Steam were missing for the audio, so it was cutting out different sections and just really took away from the experience for me, because audio is just such a huge part of
It really
gaming
is.
for sure. And then it crashed a number of times, but it's a great story, really fun, really enjoyable. You can watch me play through the whole thing on Star Wars Uplink Shorts, I think is where I played that. I think that's where it was. So if you want to see a full playthrough of that game all in one go, as well as all the fun craziness that happened through that, it's on that channel.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out.
Anyway, KOTOR.
Yes.
Honestly, I don't want to put this on it, but I love the cinematic stuff. That whenever anyone pumps out something cinematic, I'm like, I'm there. I want to see that. Like, give it to me. I don't care if it has nothing to do with the game. I just want to see it. And I really want to see a game that bleeds that in. Like, like that can.
Cutscenes?
I don't mind cutscenes, but like I want to
It's more
feel
like heavily on the story
Yeah.
side of things. And that's what KOTOR, I think, specializes in, is one, you get to tell your own story, but it has a clear path for you to follow and a clear paths for you to make decisions on.
Yeah.
So I think if this game's not cinematic, it's a failing and it's not going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be
Yeah.
cinematic.
Yeah.
Like, it can't not be. Like, you don't go into a remake of KOTOR and be like, yeah, we're not going to make it cinematic at all, because
Yeah.
they have cutscenes in there. Obviously, they're 2003 cutscenes.
Yeah, they're rough.
They're pretty rough. And then it's a very interesting experience, because you have it scales pretty well. Playing it on the Xbox Series S, it's really good with backwards compatibility. And then you get to the cutscenes, you're like, oh gosh, this did not scale up. Not scaled.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, KOTOR is just a fantastic experience. And I think they need to, one, honor the story that they're telling and honor the past, as well as what it really needs to do is they need to have something for new players who have never experienced it before. So they need kind of what are the key parts of KOTOR and what makes KOTOR. But they also have to have those moments that people who have played the game, they need to have moments where you're like, man, this is exactly how I remember it being. That, I think, is incredibly important with the remake, is you need to have those moments where you say, this is how I remember playing it when I played it, and I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever age you were when you played it. Because we all think of, man, these are the best graphics ever. And then you go back and you're like, not too great. It needs to have that experience of like, no, this is how I remember it. How I remember it is not that.
How would you say that they'll achieve that?
I think they need to honor the experiences. I think we talked about this a while ago when we talked about the controversy around the one of the writers for the game, and they didn't really specifically appreciate some aspects of the game, but I think there's a lot of people on there that do. So I think her experience of maybe like saying these are some of the failings of it will be good paired with like, no, these are some of the strengths of it. I think if they can meet in the middle and push it forward in a unique way will be really great. And I think the people that want that recreation experience can push back on certain areas like, no, this needs to be there. I think if there's that balance between the new people working on it from like an outside perspective and the people that are really entrenched in that history around the game, if they can meet in the middle, we're going to get a really unique experience.
That's a big if.
That's a big if.
That's a big if.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't feel like we've been feeling a lot of balance in the Star Wars.
I mean, the games we have.
Yes.
I think we've gotten some really strong story beats. Even like Battlefront 2's campaign, I disagree with some of the decisions that they made. I love the writers, Walt Williams and Mitch Dyer, like some of the best people in gaming. They're hilarious. They're a wonder to talk to, incredibly intelligent. But like some of the decisions that they made were a little bit safer just because of they were going into a space that this was the first campaign that they had done for Star Wars. This is in terms of like DICE. DICE isn't really well known for their campaigns being incredibly strong. They did have like Battlefield 1 had a really strong campaign, and then people are really like Battlefield 4s as well. But they aren't like, when you think of DICE, you don't think of like, man, storytelling and campaigns. And then this is the first experience for Disney in doing something like this and keeping it canon too. So they also had to work around that side of things too. So they weren't necessarily able to do everything that they needed or wanted to do. So some aspects of the story, I think mostly just how quickly Iden turns to the dark side or light side.
Yeah, light side.
Yeah. Goes from because they were hyping it up as like this first dark side story ever. Learned the experience of this Inferno squad from the other side. It's like that lasted like 20 minutes, and then it's like, oh hey guys, screw the dark side. Yep. Let's kill some stormtroopers.
Let's rebel.
Yeah, so I think that's just mostly the limitations of outside forces. But even that's like incredibly great when you compare it to something like Boba Fett or Obi Wan, which we'll talk about later. And then you've got Fallen Order, you've got Squadrons, which is a really good campaign too. Like campaigns in Star Wars have been really good, especially the other experience that we have with a single player story based game, which is Fallen Order.
Yeah.
That sets the bar pretty high.
Oh my gosh, really high.
Yeah, so I think if it lives up to that level, if it's half of the quality in the story writing and the experience of Fallen Order, it's still going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's twice the experience, but I think we'll get a good thing out of it if they honor that and they put in the time necessary for it.
I would imagine that they are going to shrink it.
I think
it's
so.
It's not going to feel as big.
Yeah, I mean that was my issue with Lego Star Wars is it's short. Yeah, it's like it's a normal length Lego game from beginning to finish. When you're working with 9 movies and a huge galaxy, like they don't give the time necessary for most of it, and they don't really honor the sandbox experience that the other games had, or the retellings of it, because it's like, oh, they didn't even pick some of the best moments. It's like there's a drastic lack of, especially in the prequels for some reason, of like some really iconic scenes and moments. But hopefully they make the right payoff, or at least if it's not long, give us card games to play and let us gamble. If that's not in there, I'm not buying it.
I'm out.
I'm out. I mean, I will still get it, but I won't be happy about it.
Yeah, if you can't have those side tangents, it's
Like, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I literally
just the quirky
gambled
things.
in the game for like an hour.
There's the quirky things that you get to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think
Just
that's
makes it.
super important. Mm-hmm. What would you think of a movie? He specifically asks
Right.
for. He specifically asks for a trilogy of movies set in that era. I would love to see anything set in the Knights of the Old Republic era. That is such a unique time frame in Star Wars. You have just insanity on the Sith side. You have insanity on the Jedi side. You have like all of these huge things that are happening, these wars, the origins of the Jedi, all of these massive decisions that are being made. That could be really awesome.
It could be super intense.
And I think it has the scale necessary to make it a successful movie or movies. But I don't think we're going to see any more trilogies, honestly.
Yeah.
I think
so.
they're stepping away from trilogies, and the long form content are going to be in the form of the TV shows.
And on that note, I'm good if they don't touch it.
Yeah.
Just stick to the games
Yeah.
with this because
Yeah. If it's a TV show, they have not shown themselves very
capable
capable
just yet.
in telling a full, fleshed out, rich story with deep and complex characters in a unique way.
And in a, I don't want to say organic, but like in just a.
They stumbled upon a success with Mendo, and then they've tried to replicate that in every following show that they've had.
And it's
You look
it's
at
not working, guys.
Obi Wan with like, oh hey, here's this child that you have to protect, and they're trying to replicate Grogu. And Tales of the Jedi, again, they're constantly obsessed with like, oh yeah, we're trying to replicate this. Like they're always trying to compare it to Grogu. And then in Boba Fett, you have like the weirdness with the teenagers and trying to like help them out. It's like, okay, like this is a really weird. They're trying
very
to
strange.
replicate the same story beats that have worked so well, but the reason that those worked so well, it was a new idea. They had like really unique story beats. They wanted to tell a fascinating story.
They have a good character. Like
They
they
do.
have decent.
They have incredible
characters in there.
characters.
and
Just
they're actually
period.
doing something with them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You actually care about them, and they make you care about them, and they earned that care.
And there's texture to this
Yeah.
whole thing. Like, but we're not there yet.
Not yet. Actually, we are.
Oh, are we?
Let's switch
go.
gears, take a break, and let's talk about Obi-Wan, because it works out perfectly to start switching those gears.
This podcast is a production of Uplink Media Group. Uplink is a podcast network dedicated to highlighting the love and experience of gaming and pop culture. Check out our other shows, The Battlefield Show, Star Wars Uplink, and The Forge, the Halo Infinite podcast, as well as our YouTube channels for even deeper dives into Battlefield, Star Wars, and more. YouTube.com/Uplink Podcast and StarWarsUplink.com.
Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Obi Wan Kenobi, episode 4 of 6 episodes. You know, when you think, oh hey, this show only has 6 episodes, everything's gonna be like super compact, and it's gonna be like, boom, heavy hitter after heavy hitter after heavy hitter. You're not gonna have any filler episodes. Well, we had a filler episode.
And I feel like we've had at least 3 filler episodes.
Yeah. We had like that was a 30-minute episode pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if you take away the freaking recap, the Star Wars intro that goes on way too long. And then yeah.
It's good.
And then the actual credits themselves, like it's like 30 minutes. Like why do we have only 6 episodes to work with these characters? Like this is going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity because you know they're not going to pay Ewan McGregor to come back.
No.
And it seems like they had a lot of creative differences in the creation of the show. Apparently, it was supposed to be much longer. It was supposed to be a much longer show, but they cut it back and they trimmed it and they rewrote it. And they did a lot of things that took away from the actual original vision of the show.
Why?
Time constraints, I think, is what it ultimately came down to. Disney, Lucasfilm wanted the show out in a certain amount of time, And to do that, they needed to cut content. They needed to do certain things. And ultimately, the story beats failed. So before we jump into the spoiler things, this episode is just pure filler content. It doesn't really progress the story very much. We don't get a deeper look into any of the characters, really. And any chance that they had for deeper stories just wasn't really there. Didn't seem very natural.
Yeah, no. I don't know what to say about this one. It just feels like it was just another step just to get to wherever we're going to next.
And then it doesn't seem like they really know.
No.
Where that is.
I mean, ultimately, hopefully we're seeing a more confident Obi-Wan fight a big bad Darth Vader. I think that's what we're all leading up to.
This show should have been just called Reva with Obi-Wan. It's like that's the ultimate. That is the true purpose of this show, is to introduce Reva. This is the surprise. It's reported that she is going to get her own TV show.
No. No.
Let's give one of the weakest and very surface level characters in this show their own TV show, because that's going to be great.
I'm conflicted about this. Either
there's two directions it can go.
Either we're actually going to get a lot more depth, and we're actually going to see some good acting and better, hopefully, script, and
but knowing all of the past experiences, that is not going to happen. Yeah.
Oh man.
I was talking with Dinko about this earlier today, and I felt more connected to the Grand Inquisitor, who
you were like, I just can't even look at him.
I can't even look at him, but I feel more connected to him, and his actor brought more to the role than Reva has in the more time that she's been in there. Which is such a shame. And I was telling him too, I was like, I had high hopes, I had high expectations. I wanted to root for her as a character. I wanted to see a strong female African-American lead take this role and be given the respect as an actor to take it in a very unique direction and to give them the tools that they need to move something forward. But intro, spoiler alert, boom, spoiler section, we're talking about it now.
Here we go.
When you have a line that's literally like, they did this twice in a row. It's like,
which just like hit that hammer on the head again to be like,
it's like, oh hey, I don't think people felt the freaking massive hammer we just smacked them in the face with. Time to do it again.
Yeah.
You have Leia there, who, why is Reva being like, oh, I don't talk to Jedi sympathizers? It's like, dude, she's 10. Like, how? What are you even talking about? Like, you're threatening a 10-year-old. She's like, I was trying to get more information out of her. Yeah, I was like you before. I was lost and I did this. Obviously hinting to the fact that she's the youngling at the beginning of the series. You know that one opening scene where you've got all the younglings running off after their master? Like, she's definitely that one kid. Yeah.
Oh.
Definitely that one kid.
I'm rolling my eyes right now. Okay.
Yeah. And then we get the same thing again. It's like, oh yeah, I had a droid once too. It's like,
yeah, it was like this repeated like,
I thought I was
I'm just like you. I'm just like you.
I thought
like,
someone had drugged me. I was like, am I actually seeing this? It is the weakest writing. It's almost to the level of Rise of Skywalker, honestly. But like, they aren't doing anything Why? What? Let me continue. Joby Harold, who is the main writer of the show, wrote Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, the horrible Robin Hood movie, and the horrible King Arthur movie. Why do you think that he would be a great choice to push forward the iconic character of Obi Wan, who made us all love the prequels and is the reason why the prequels are so popular today. Why Transformers, Robin Hood, and King Arthur?
Yeah. It just hurts, man.
Mm-hmm.
It just hurts.
And it's such a shame too. Like, they had so much opportunity. I don't care what direction they went to. They have all of the pieces here. I was thinking about this earlier of like a way to like just put an analogy to it. It's like you're given a Lego set and you decided to, one, throw away the instructions to the Lego set, throw away 75% of the pieces, and then build a trash can. That's what they did. They had all of these very unique pieces. They have all of these strong characters. They've got freaking Darth Vader in it. Mm-hmm. They've got freaking Grand Inquisitor in it. They've got all of the Inquisitors in it. They've got Leia in it, which honestly, I love Leia. She's fantastic. I love her. And
she's honestly carrying the show as much as Ewan McGregor is.
In this
They're
episode,
both like holding it together, but when they come together, it's weird. Anyway, yeah. What are you saying?
You have all of these strong pieces. You have incredible set pieces. You have great planets. And then you throw all of that out the window and decide to tell a terrible story that is not fleshed out. You don't have good story beats. Like in this episode, you have like Obi-Wan's trying to use the Force and it's not working on this tiny little comm. And then the point where the glass breaks. And, magically his powers have come back and he didn't even, fight any internal demons to get there. He had no flashbacks or any development. He's just like, okay, we need Force powers. I got Force powers now.
I am needed. I am here. It's like
you set up these moments to go through and have these character beats and character growth moments where he can overcome some of the blocks in his past. I mean, Cal, just look at Jedi Fallen Order. Cal is in a similar boat. He's cut off a bunch of his connection to the Force. He has to relearn a lot of the powers that he lost and learned. So he has to go back into himself and unblock his abilities.
Yeah. We
don't get any of that here.
No.
I think the story fails for that. Like, they set up a perfect growth moment, and then they're like, nah, fam, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
Also, that whole scene just dumb. Like, that CGI is awful.
Yeah. First of all,
doesn't make sense.
You create an entire fortress that is mostly underwater, and one blaster hit can crack the glass and make everything crumble.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars we're talking about. This isn't like real world. This is like advanced.
Yeah. You have no like backup plan if it broke.
Oh, we can just seal it off. What? At least have a droid there who like can detect these things and comes and like stabilizes things.
Or have like a shield on the outside of the glass to hold the water back.
Oh, which also brings us to the meeting where they're like, Obi-Wan's like, I don't see any shields on this fortress. And everyone's just like, well, no one would be stupid enough to...
Yeah, definitely. The stronghold of the Inquisitors, they're definitely not going to have a shield on there.
I'm just saying, for how many times in the Clone Wars, they just busted into places? You'd think Vader would at least know something about how stupid these rebels are?
I don't like, they're making all these stupid mistakes and they're like, no, you guys are just, you don't get it. Like, don't come at us with not telling a great story. It's definitely you not understanding our brilliance in storytelling.
I mean, sure, you could argue that it's just the arrogance of the dark side or whatever, but I like to think that there are some sensible people in here. Like
seriously, people, come on.
If you got like people like Thrawn on your side, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
you're a little more prepared.
Seriously, should be at least more prepared.
Do we even need to talk about their escape scene?
Oh yeah, hiding in the freaking trench coat.
Yeah. What? I mean, I'm glad they actually caught them. If they did, I don't know what that was. It was just
also, why was
I see you.
Why was Reva so like, you're lying to me?
Yeah, she's very emotional
She
about the
didn't
whole
do
thing.
like there was
She's
no
literally just standing there. It's like they had their guns all pointed. It's like, okay, this is taking a bit too long.
No, I mean the lady imperial officer. I'm using quotation marks here.
Yeah.
You're lying to me.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
how do you know any of this information? How?
I love a good liar, but also you're lying. But are you lying? I'll find out. It's like, what?
What was that interaction?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That was so weird.
Yeah. Like it's close to getting to the point where I'm just gonna write off the TV shows.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even gonna take them seriously or even like expect any great storytelling, which is very disappointing because like Mandalorian's great. The first season of Mandalorian is incredible, and then they realize, oh hey, oh my gosh, we did something great.
Yeah.
Time to ruin it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's been. I don't know how much more I can say about this, but it's.
Yeah. And like we're getting to the point where we're beyond the point of like, oh, we'll give the rest of the episode a chance. We're 2/3 of the way in. We only have two
more
episodes left. This episode should have set up the finale.
Mm-hmm.
It did not do that.
No.
They have a tracker on the ship now.
Ooh, okay. I guess this entire episode was just me being like, it was so Star Wars, but not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was so like, we have seen this 100 times. Give us something new. Like why must we keep doing this?
Also, where the heck was Vader? Like why did Vader just like pop up in the end when after Obi Wan escapes and then is like, I'm gonna kill you. I put a tracker on them. It's like, seriously, we're playing the tracker game again. How unoriginal is it to like sneak a tracker on them?
The whole thing, the whole episode, it was back
this
to
is
tank.
worse than an AI.
No, it was back to tank. Then it was little meeting of rebels. Mm-hmm. No, we're not doing it. Yes, we're doing it anyway.
Oh, don't even get me started on that idiot.
Oh
yeah, I'm not doing it. No way. Obi-Wan says, you don't understand the power of the Empire.
That's pretty good.
And then he's like, the dude turns around and it's like, oh, he's definitely going to be like, no, I know the power of the Empire and I'm definitely not doing it. He tells this sob story and there's no logical reason for them to help them after what he says. Yeah, my wife was one of you and the Inquisitors found her. Yeah, I'll help you. What?
Wow, those are some great, like, I don't know what Obi-Wan was doing, but that is some great mind tricking to get him to help out. Anyway, so we have that moment. Mm-hmm. And then we have the break into the big bad place. Uh-huh. And then we have the rescue mission, obviously. And it was all just so cliche. The hiding, the doing little force thing, the stuff that we have all seen before. Mm-hmm. The interrogation was bad.
There
but
was
it was
no
new.
interrogation.
No, it wasn't. It was, I'm trying to relate to you, but I'm mean, but I'm trying to relate to you, but I'm also big and scary.
I've done everything that you ever could do. Oh, yeah, you like lollipops? I like lollipops, but it got taken away from me.
Yeah.
I actually never said I liked lollipops.
Yeah. And then it was the getting out of jail. And then it was this weird like confrontation and then the horrible
there's a
escape.
situation that they cannot get out of.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look, it's the rebellion.
2 ships come.
2 ships. And then one of them
blow
dies
everyone.
and they're like super sad about
Yeah,
it. It's
it's like
we had no emotional connection. You did not make us care.
Honestly,
none of the characters had emotional interactions with any of them.
I freaking wish that the one spy lady stayed. Like I wish they captured her.
That would have been
instead,
very
and it would have been
interesting.
much more like, oh whoa, man,
Yeah.
something happened. Like it would feel at least like
Have
there was some
BB-8
risk.
randomly show up in a freaking
Oh my
ATST.
God.
That would have been more exciting and understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so bad. I don't understand why they have just tripped over themselves so hardcore with this character. Like, they took every decision, made the wrong one, and then doubled down on that decision and made it worse.
Once again, they're falling into the trap of naming a show the character, and yet we don't get the character. You know?
Yeah.
Like, we
It's
don't
Boba
get
Fett
the
all
growth.
over again.
Yeah, exactly. At least we see Obi Wan in every episode. That's a bonus.
Yeah.
But
the main reason for freaking Boba Fett to be in there is just to expand Mando. It's not like when you see an iconic character in any of the shows, it's not for that character. It's to introduce another character that they want to have a spin-off TV show on, and they don't feel like they can have, like, they can't just be like, oh, hey, we're going to give this new Inquisitor their own TV show. It's like, no, we have to have Reva take over the spotlight from this Obi-Wan show, not really tell Obi-Wan's story, and then...
Or his emotions, or what he's going through.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me mad. It's like, I'm not here for Reva. Okay?
I'm here for Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Give me Obi-Wan.
Give me his story. I don't want...
I don't care that Reva's in there.
No.
Make it to where we are seeing only Obi-Wan side of things, and we're seeing his perception of Reva in the background doing these things.
Yeah.
We don't need to see her. She'd be much more impactful of a character if you see what she's been doing versus her actually doing the... Actually, she doesn't actually do them. She just talks about doing the things, and then they happen.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh... Yeah, I wish they hadn't tried to go so action-packed. Like, I really just want an emotional story.
Yeah.
Of Obi-Wan coming through this really dark time to regaining who he is and redefining himself.
Yeah.
As Ben. Like,
yeah.
It's so Disney. It's so Disney.
It is, sadly.
It's so, like... Look, another action
Except not
figure
in the
that we
good ways.
can have. Like, it's just so... Whoa.
Yeah.
It's crushing my soul.
It's very sad. It's sad to see such an iconic character get misconstrued and just taken
Cheapened.
away.
They're just cheapening by just...
They aren't putting in any effort to tell Obi-Wan's story or even tell a good story. It's just to, let's put another pawn on the board, let's move it forward, and that's it.
It feels very commercial and so unhuman.
It's more like, oh, hey, people are asking about an Obi-Wan show. Do we really want to do an Obi-Wan show? No, we don't want to do an Obi-Wan show. We're just going to disrespect the character, disrespect all of the history. Not like, I don't care about any of the canon side of things. They can make sense that Obi-Wan fought Vader. They can make sense that Leia's there. I don't really care about that canon side of things.
Sure.
I just care about them telling a good story. And they're just so uninterested in telling Obi-Wan's story. And it's like a side mission that they have to do instead of something that they want to do in a way that actually tells something unique and iconic. Which is sad.
Yeah. It's really, really sad. It's kind of dark days. Dark days of we're getting so much, and yet it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I'd rather have like one show every 2 years than 5 shows a year, but they're all crappy. And maybe if you put them all together, they equal half a good show.
The only show I'm looking somewhat forward to is more Mando.
Yeah.
Because they did something good. And it's interesting. And they have characters that they are legitimately like passionate about.
They understand the character. They know where the character wants to go. They're putting in these side pieces, really, but they are supporting Mando as a character instead of taking away, which is good.
Yeah. Because it's something totally new.
But we'll see how it happens in season 3 because as we've seen so far, just because they've done it in the past, it does not mean they're going to do it again. So, sad. Would love to hear your thoughts on Obi-Wan and KOTOR Remake and your ideas around something set in that universe or that time period. Love to hear your thoughts. And if you do have a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out on Twitter at Star Wars Uplink or at Uplink Podcast or contact at uplinkpodcast.com and we'll cover it on the show. As always, thank you so much for listening. We'd greatly appreciate your feedback as well as leaving us a review. It helps us out a ton. Seriously, if you have the availability to leave a review on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, it helps us out a ton, and we love reading them. So this is like genuinely from the bottom of my heart, would love to see some new reviews there. It makes my heart happy. But as always, thank you once again for listening, and may the Force be with you always.